Good evening, I'm Vivian. Welcome to today's Vivian Speaking. 大家好，这里是 Vivian Speaking.
I believe it's the beauty which makes it at all to have so many beautiful art.
你越紧张于表象，你越不会说话啊！你不去想怎么。
Often watch people and their behaviour as though they're chimpanzees.
People come to Tianjin and say, "Wow, it's really lovely here," and it is. But I guess I didn't appreciate how.
There are multiple levels of senior living based on
I believe it's the beauty which makes it at all to have so many beautiful art pieces from.
How do you design a life that truly matters?
It's going to be better, right?
No, I'd rather have you. You're more beautiful.
Thank you.
被音乐涵养的建筑，天津茱莉亚学院。Vivian Speaking 邀请到天津茱莉亚学院执行理事兼首席执行官卜怡明先生，从纽约茱莉亚学院和天津茱莉亚学院的紧密联系聊起，对学院内部特色空间展开讲解，畅谈教育理念与地标建筑未来空间的运营的规划。天津茱莉亚学院在设计上继承了纽约茱莉亚学院的设计语言，而在天津落地生根后，也完美融入当地环境。比邻海河和海滨公园，所在位置极具优势。天津茱莉亚学院必将以天津为依托，成为更大区域内活力四射的文化交流枢纽与古典音乐教育中心。天津茱莉亚学院致力于培养一代又一代音乐家，鼓励音乐学习者尽可能多地进行公开表演，这是茱莉亚近100年以来一直坚守的宝贵教育理念。随着新校园的落成，天津现在又新增一座表演艺术教育地标建筑，工人礼赞文化、建筑和人文之美。
Hello, this is Vivian speaking. I'm Vivian. Today, I come to a new landmark of Tianjin Julia School. And the guest for today's Vivian Speaking is Alexander Bros. He is Executive Director and CEO of Julia School in Tianjin.
Alex, very great to have you today.
Hi Vivian, 我也很高兴。
So you can speak Chinese?
我会说一点点。
Why?
哇，我小时候我就在香港。对，然后在1997年在哈尔滨学习业。
Okay. So actually, you have the experience, and you've been living in China and Hong Kong, right?
Right.
So for a long time.
That's right.
I think that's the reason. That's why your school chose you to come to Tianjin.
Oh well, I think it helped certainly. Yeah, I would hope so. Yeah.
And I've been heard that you've been staying in Tianjin for 3 years.
For 3 years, that's right.
Okay. So, what's your impression about the city?
Tianjin?
Yeah.
Tianjin, it's a wonderful city. It's been a really wonderful, welcoming place for me and for my family. Very friendly people, very inquisitive people. So many who actually I think are very interested in what we're doing here at the Tianjin Juilliard School.
Yeah.
And I think, above all else, as I've said at conferences and in other interviews quite recently, I think China is really the future of classical music in many ways. And so, having been now in Tianjin for 3 years and having such close proximity to Beijing, to be able to go see as many concerts as we see, and to see so many packed audiences and small children running through the audiences and the performance spaces, so excited to see classical music, it's been very inspiring to be here. So it's been a wonderful experience over the past 3 years.
Okay, and you just talk about that how potential that we are for the classical music, right? I mean, in the future of China, and the Julia School has selected Binhai to be their first foreign campus place. So how do you foresee the future of this market, especially Julia School has arrived, right?
Yeah, we have arrived, and it's so exciting. China is a fascinating place, and it's an honor for us to be guests in this country, and we truly are guests. But I think that China also has an incredible Chinese people put so much focus on education and on the arts and on sports, for that matter. So for the Juilliard School to be able to open up their first branch campus in a place where there is such a culture already and an appreciation for both music and for education, to have those things come together is a really unique opportunity, and which is why 10 years ago, Juilliard started looking for the location for their first branch campus. It was 10 years ago. Wow. This has been a 10-year process, and it was really started by a wonderful, wonderful man and my mentor, Joseph Polisi, who is now President Emeritus of the Juilliard School in New York. He served as president there for over 35 years, just shy of 35 years. And he is still, to this day, Juilliard's Chief China Officer and the chair of our board here. And this is really his dream to do this. He's always been fascinated with China as a country, with its history, with its culture. And so for him to be able to identify China as the first branch campus for Juilliard, I just feel so lucky that he chose China because of my background in China and because of, I think, the potential that this project holds.
Okay, and why Binhai? Because we have lots of fascinating places in China, right? But why Binhai?
Well, Binhai is a very interesting place too. I mean, Binhai is very uniquely situated. It's of course a very important port city, but we're not in the business of logistics or shipping. But we are in the business of education and of bringing students from all over the world to one place, and all over China to one place. So Tianjin's proximity to Beijing, its relative ease of travel with its great airport and with its great train stations to get to other places in China has been very helpful for us over the past 2 years as students have come to study with us on Saturdays in our pre-college program. But also, you choose a location because of partners. And so we've had, really terrific partners here in this endeavor, not only from the TIDA and Binhai governments, but also to the Tianjin Conservatory of Music. Certainly the municipal governments within Tianjin have been very supportive of this, and even some of the national bureaus, and in fact the First Lady herself, have just been so incredibly supportive and want to see this project succeed. So it's a lot of pressure for us to succeed, but I think we've really set off on a fantastic foot, and I cannot wait to finally have audiences in our concert halls. We've just welcomed our students here for the first time, and to see their faces walking into the building and into the concert halls for the first time, to walk into their teachers' studios, to walk into the practice rooms, to see the Steinway pianos that we have here. It's just been an incredibly exciting couple of weeks for us.
Yeah, and I just heard that actually we have already had more than 100 students. Already.
Correct, right. So we have two very distinct programs here right now at the Tianjin Juilliard School. Yeah. The first, which started just over a year ago, is our pre-college.
Pre-college. And
the pre-college program is for very, very high level, high talent, 8 to 18-year-old children. And they are coming from all over China to join us on Saturdays only. So what this program does is it mirrors what the Juilliard School in New York offers in their pre-college, where they have students coming from all over the country and frankly North America on Saturdays only. So they go to high school or they go to middle school at their regular schools throughout the States. And on Friday nights or Saturday mornings, they travel to New York City. Wow. They spend 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning, all the way through the evening studying, practicing, rehearsing, and communing with their fellow musicians. And then at the end of that night, they either go back to their homes nearby, or they leave the next morning for their homes far away.
You mean even, I'm sorry, you mean in US, even the students is not in that same city of the college, they will go to that city and to learn
in the pre-college. So this is a Saturday only program.
Only Saturday, right?
That's correct, right?
Because why I'm asking, because I thought only Chinese parents could do that,
No, I mean very, very committed and very loyal and supportive parents, throughout the United States, and many of whom are, I would say, ethnically Chinese for sure. So. But it's a very famous program in New York, which we are replicating here. So our first year we had around just under 40 students, around 45 students or so in our pre-college, coming from primarily the Jingjinji Triangle, about 50%. But the other students were coming from as far away as Hong Kong every weekend. We had a young woman who moved from Taipei and moved here permanently to go to school here to attend classes. Students from Changsha, Changchun. Every Friday, Saturday they come here. This year, we have an additional 50 or so students, so we're just under 100. And we have a young woman coming from Xining every Friday. She flies with her parents from Binhai and comes to Tianjin, and she studies all day Saturday and then flies back. And this is the commitment. This is the level of commitment and the level of passion that we see, not only in the United States, but certainly in China right now around classical music and around educating their children. So that program is just wonderful. The second program, which has just started just a couple of weeks ago, is our graduate program. And this is a collaboration with the Tianjin Conservatory of Music. And we are offering the only music degree in China from the United States.
Okay.
So when you become a graduate student here, so not undergraduate, so pre-college to 18 years old, then you have your undergraduate program, which is 18 to 22 years old. We don't have that. Okay? We have the graduate program.
Graduate.
研究生.
Okay.
Right? 研究生.
So after 22.
22 or so, and older.
Older.
You can be a graduate student here.
Yeah.
And right now we have 38 students from 12 different countries and territories studying with us from all over the world, and they've just arrived. And in fact, what we're most excited about is that we are the only school in China during this very crazy pandemic time globally. The only school in China that's been given permission to bring in international students this fall.
Wow.
So we are honored to have been granted that opportunity.
Okay, so that's a rehearsal that we just heard.
Uh-huh.
So actually the student from...
Those are the graduate students, right, in the graduate program.
Yeah.
And they're from, primarily from China, but also students from Hungary, from Uzbekistan, from Japan, from Korea, from the United States, from Canada, and so on. So it's a very international community, and we expect that it will expand and become even more international as time goes on, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it will be. So actually, another part that I like at the school is, this amazing appearance and this interior decoration, all the things.
Very unique, yeah.
Very unique. And so, can you give us a brief introduction to this building?
Yeah. This is a landmark building.
Landmark.
And we think that this building will attract not only fans of music and of Juilliard, but also fans of architecture, because it's so unique and it's such a stunning home for what we're doing here. The architects are a very well-known architecture firm in the United States, and specifically in New York City, named Diller, Scofidio, and Renfro, DSNR for short. And they are very well known for designing just landmark cultural projects. So most recently they were involved in the renovation of the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. They were involved in the Shed, which is the performance and gallery space as part of the Hudson Yards development in New York City on the west side of New York, Manhattan. They're most well known probably for the High Line, which is a wonderful park in New York City that was built on top of abandoned elevated railway tracks. So they also, luckily for us, 12 years ago, were the lead architecture firm on the renovation of Lincoln Center and Juilliard specifically. So the relationship between the architects and Juilliard goes back at least 12 years. So they know Juilliard, and they know what our needs are, the type of culture that we're trying to create here. And also they were given the opportunity to perhaps improve upon Juilliard's campus in New York with some things that are different. There are some allusions and some homages or homages to the Juilliard campus in New York. If you're in the lobby, you'll see some of the staircases and places where students can sit, which are very similar to spaces in New York Juilliard where people can sit and relax. But for the most part, this is a whole new design. And what they wanted was to create a space where people could access it really at all times of the day. So as you walk into the building, you can enter the lobby. And from the lobby, you can access all three of our performance spaces. Smallest is the Black Box Theater, the middle-sized space is the recital hall, and the largest space, our concert hall, which is our grand space. Again, with the idea of being that you can look to see in what's happening. Even as you walk around the building, there are windows in all of the concert halls. So people who are walking around the building can look in and see what's happening inside. We wanted to bring the inside out, and then also in the lobby, there are many trees and rocks, and we wanted to bring the outside.
Outside in.
Yeah. And when I say we, I mean the architecture firm. I was not involved in the design of the building. So But the building is so unique, and you'll see that there are 4 different pavilions, each with their own primary function, primarily performance and office space, and then linking these 4 pavilions are 5 bridges that contain all of our practice rooms, all of our teaching studios for one-on-one teaching, and all of our academic classrooms. And again, we think this space is so magical. Just to have seen our staff in here the past couple of weeks getting used to their new office spaces, getting used to the new culture that this building will, I think, require. Any organization, any arts organization, any office is defined by the architecture of the building. The way we communicate with people, the way we interact is defined by where we sit and how we sit and how we get around. And so we're learning. We're learning to get through this building. I got lost with you earlier today. Sooner or later we'll figure out how to get through it. But it's just a tremendous facility for faculty, students, and staff.
Okay, and for this building, I have another question because it's located in Binhai, in China. So does any decoration or something is a kind of an integration about international and the Chinese?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think that this is I would say that this is very Western architecture, and I think that the materials, of course, and there's a lot of stone. That to me feels very Chinese at times.
Stone.
Yes, stone. I think that there's a lot of stone from China that's been used in this.
Okay.
And to me, it feels very, as you walk through the lobby, it's a very dark stone, and it reminds me of the stone that you use when you have your maobi, like when you have a brush and you're doing ancient calligraphy, you have your ink stone. That's what I'm reminded of as you walk through the lobby. I have no idea if that's what their intention was, but for me, I'm reminded of that as you walk through the lobby. It feels very Chinese, rich, heritage in that area of the lobby.
Yeah, that's very Chinese for you, right? That part at least. Okay.
Right. Well, does it feel Chinese to you at all?
No. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we can say there's always been an open, the big windows, right? So, and there's a great view outside. So I'm just wondering that sometimes when you're holding a coffee and standing in front of the window, what are you thinking?
Oh, that's a really good question because I've been doing that a lot recently, and my office is just right next door here, looking out almost at the same view. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but we have this wonderful new plaza out here and a wonderful garden. And as I've looked out of the window over the past 3 weeks that we've been here, so many people have been coming just to walk around and just to see the building. And again, this has been 10 years in the making, and this has been a construction site for the past 3.5, almost 4 years. And this is a very interesting part of town. And what I've seen as I've looked out at people coming and walking around, what I've sensed, which is really special for me, is pride. I feel that people have so much pride about what's been accomplished here. They take photos with their children, grandmas and grandpas, are walking along and playing with the fish in the ponds, and taking photos of them dancing in front of the building, and it just feels like it's a community. It feels that people are really coming from all over to see what we've done here. And we haven't even opened the concert halls yet, so I cannot wait to have public performances, to invite people in to see what we're doing. I just think that the pride that people in Binhai and Tianjin and China feel about this will only increase over time, and I just can't wait to see that. I think it's really exciting.
Okay. Yeah, just like what we talk, and right now we already have like more than 100 students. But my question is that now you're the executive director and the CEO of the Julia School. So
The Tianjin.
Tianjin. Okay. So in your point of view, what do you want the student achieve in the future? So is that only the musician award? I'm not think so. Okay. So I mean, what else you want your student to achieve in the future?
Well, the Juilliard School in New York has over a 100-year legacy of training the world's best musicians. And they have gone on to world careers, from soloists like Yo-Yo Ma to principals of every orchestra around the world, practically. These are truly the cream of the crop. And of course, we here in Tianjin hope to do the exact same thing, to train not only China's musicians, but also the world's musicians, Asia's musicians. We want this to be a hub, a center for classical music training with an international approach. So, obviously, if our students go on to become the principals of the Shanghai Symphony, or the principals of the China Philharmonic, or conductors at orchestras around the world, perfect. That's exactly what we want. However, for me personally, I want our graduates, not only from the pre-college, but also from the certainly the graduate school, to graduate and to serve music, to serve the art. Okay? If they go on to become teachers in the community, wonderful. If they go on to become the chief marketing officer for a symphony, great. They are serving music, and they're bringing that to the community. On top of that, I think all of our graduates are going to need to be, and this is something that Joseph Polisi has talked about and written books about, they're going to need to be citizen artists, or artist citizens. They're not going to just be performers. They're not just going to be the people who, as he says, and as I've said in other interviews, who stand on top of a mountain performing, waiting for the performers to come to them and to entertain, and that's it. No, we want them to come down from the mountain, to be in the community, to be in Binhai, to be throughout Tianjin and China, to bring their art and to bring their ability to communicate with society. That is so important, and that is a very distinctly Juilliard initiative for us to do that. So we're building those programs right now. We have the students, we have the faculty, we're building the roads right now. We're paving the roads to being able to getting our students out into the community to do exactly the things that we just talked about. And that's it'll take a long time, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
I think you want the influence of a Juilliard school, not only in China, maybe in Asia, maybe in the world, but also you want the student to can have a musician influence to the local people as well,
Yes, exactly.
right? I think the point that you want that your students be the artists, right? Not only the performer, and that they enjoy the music.
Citizens.
Yeah,
Citizens. Artist
Okay.
citizens.
All right.
Yeah.
I think this is today's Vivian Speaking, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Great to see you. Okay.